How much longer do you think Black will be headmaster? I have family in America. Wonder if I could transfer to Ilvermorny and come back when he's gone.
I can't believe Black is still the headmaster. He obviously hates the job. It's not like he's short a few galleons.
What do you think Black's wife is like? She must be miserable. Although, not while he's here, perhaps.
Black noticed a scuff on his shoe the other day, and would not take another step until a house elf polished it away for him. Horrid man.
Why would Black want to be headmaster of Hogwarts? Of course, I'm not sure what job he'd actually be good at. Perhaps something at Azkaban. Have you ever had a cauldron leak? I didn't think it was possible. And then one minute, I was stirring, and the next, I was swimming in Wolfsbane potion. Sharp almost threw his wand at me, I swear. Turned out, I just spilt my flask. Wasn't my fault.
You know it does help to look at the thing while you're stirring.
Oh, everybody knows you're in remedial potions.
I wish we didn't have to use a dagger in potions. I'm not the least bit comfortable with it. Crush with the flat side of the dagger. It's most untoward if you ask me. The thing's lethal. I feel I'd be safer if I were being schooled by Rookwood.
Oh, do shut up.
In my blood, my mother says. From her side, at least.
Oh, everybody knows you're in remedial potions.
I'm not taking my chances with unauthorized games. I've had enough encounters with Scalagrow, thank you.
Don't tell me one little arm break and you're already out. It was only an experimental maneuver, that was all.
Don't trust him. He only tries to get everyone injured because he likes having a chat with Nurse Blaney.
That is true. Fascinating tales she's got.
There you are. The Crosswands duelist to beat.
Ugh, it's chilling.
I'm not scared of bewitched big toes. My injuries were serious, not for idle banter over cups of tea.
Tell us about your injuries then. Go on.
Well, I will. I'm not hiding them. They're horrific. Too much for some to listen to.
Funny that. Last I heard, you'd been bitten by an enchanted bee and had a buzzing elbow for a week.
A buzzing extremity is nothing to joke about.
I beg to differ. It is my belief that a buzzing anything is in fact ripe for callous, unfettered mockery. If only Black had the power to choose the other professors too, then we could get rid of muggleborns like garlic.
I thought Professor Black would get rid of all the muggle-born students.
I doubt there's ever been a headmaster as hated as Black. Dubious honor indeed.
It's about time Hogwarts put someone like Black in charge. Perhaps now we can stop all these disgusting mudbloods from ruining the school.
As a Muggle-born, I used to feel I had a lot of work to do if I wanted to catch up to the other students. Now I realise that no particular group of wizards has the monopoly on skill.
I need someone to lend me some potions ingredients. Don't give me that look. I told you before I was only musing about a love potion. As if I'd actually brew one. I wouldn't have the faintest idea what to put in one. Let alone finding powdered millstone or ashwinder eggs.
Do you find it hard to get the right consistency in a confusing concoction? I can never get mine to thicken.
My aunt has some potions recipes she swears are from Sigmund Budge himself. She wouldn't make it up. She says they're ones he didn't put in the book of potions. Likely powerful spells for the complexion. What? Why are you looking at my chin like that? Stop it!
I'd swear we'd be more uplifted in potions if it were taught by Dementors.
I had an awful time in potions the other day. Someone had scribbled all over the pages of my book of potions. The margins were as black as soot. And it was a copy from library. Scribbler's going to have me for that.
I just wish they'd hurry up and assign the essay on werewolves. When are we getting to that?
Forgot to read the chapter for potions today. Wish I had a potion to remind myself to do my homework.
Still have a bump on my head from herbology last week. The cotton fell out of my ear during a mandrake lesson. I came to with my head in an upturned plant pot. We had a ghoul in our attic. Round all the time. Quite the nuisance. Still, we never had spiders.
He said I had a complexion like a hippocampus egg. Fancy saying that. I think it's because I don't sleep well.
I was trapped on the grand staircase once. Every time I tried to step off, it moved again. Still haven't lived that down.
Someone passed me a note in class with a heart on it. It went bright red.
When Howin said draw a thestral, how was I to know you don't draw it next to a dead body?
Do you think we'll learn how to brew Amortentio? Strongest love potion, they say. Not that I care, you understand. I was just wondering. I like Thomas Brown. He always takes the time to show me where all the new books are.
Oh, I bought one from him recently. Excellent it was. Beautiful illustrations of beasts.
Oh, what sort of beasts?
Well, there's an entire chapter on the hippocampus. Did you know they have transparent eggs?
Yes, I remember Howard mentioned it one time. I've never seen one though.
I'll have to stop him for tomes and scrolls by the sound of it. I'm a bit behind in beasts.
Oh, let me know and I'll come with you.
Don't leave me out. I'm always up for a visit to that shop. He's a clever man, that Thomas Brown.
Yes, I think so too. He once spent an hour telling me all about Jamaica. Quite the life he's had.
Consider it on my list. As long as I get to see a hippocampus egg, I'm in.
Good. If you need any assistance with beasts, I can always help you. I love that class. Despite Howin.
I'll likely take you up on that. Thank you.
Oh, romance in the air.
Oh, stop. My aunt made some Amortentia once, because she wasn't getting along well with my uncle.
Tried to summon the pepper at dinner last week, and dropped a pudding into our prefect's lab. Not sure who felt it more, me or her.
Tried what I thought was a smoothing elixir for my hair. Oh, I think I was tricked. Smells like floggerworm mucus. Oh.
Got called on to read out loud a history of magic the other day. Stumbled over all the words. I think I even bored bins. That's saying something.
Did you see Claire's hair today? She tried a color-changing charm on it, and it's essentially the color of dragon dung.
I tried to brew some Amortentia once. It was an awful disaster. I thought he'd take an interest in me. Do you think it's painful to be in a half-transfigured state?
A Beginner's Guide to Transfiguration was Miley's favorite textbook. I cannot seem to wrap my head around the subject.
The most I've ever been able to conjure was a single quill. Not sure I'll ever master that one.
Transfiguration requires such precision. I once turned my pet rabbit into a candlestick. Mother was furious when she set the table and it hopped away.
Professor Weasley's easily my favorite. Her wand work is exquisite.
Everyone knows you can't conjure food. Haven't you heard of Gamp's Law?
I hated learning banishment. Never had such abysmal marks.
How rare a metamorpho guy anyway. It's been ages since I've sent an owl back home. My father will be worrying. Perhaps next week.
Why would anyone bother sending secret love letters? If you want to win me over, just treat me to a butterbeer at the Three Broomsticks.
Wish someone would send me a love letter. Doubt that'll ever happen.
My brother just started at Hogwarts as a Gryffindor. Thought for certain he'd be Slytherin, cunning as he is.
My older brothers were all sorted into Ravenclaw. They're terribly accomplished now. I'll never be able to live up to their achievements.
My family has a lot of Muggle traditions, from my mother's side. I don't mind most of them, but cooking without magic can get exhausting.
I adore decorating for the holidays. Can never have too many fairy lights, in my opinion. Not sure the fairies would agree, mind.
Goodness, how did you beat
My
Sebastian
entire
in that
family's
duel?
been sorted into Hufflepuff. Except for me, that is. Makes sense. Not one for hard work, if I'm honest.
I say, teach me everything going. In fact, if Hecate doesn't hurry up and teach me the Imperious Curse, I swear I shall get on that train and go home.
There's simply too much information if you ask me. Surely it's not all necessary. Next thing you know, they'll be teaching us about Muggles.
I suppose in all fairness, one should be prepared for anything.
I heard some chatting in the girls' lavatory about boomslang skin. Do you think they're looking to brew a polyjuice potion? Oh, what if they already brewed one? And Sharp's actually that Hufflepuff girl with the long arms.
Is it possible to become an aura and not excel in potions? I think so, wouldn't you? It's all about demeanor, really, isn't it? Being an aura. Having a commanding stature. I think I shall be a force to be reckoned with.
I suppose I'd be curious about a beautification potion. What? Not for me, Moonmind. For a friend of mine. Don't be stupid. Someone's parents sent homemade cauldron cakes, and they shared them in the common room. I think they mistook salt for sugar, mind you. Half-eaten cakes everywhere for days there were.
What if he sticks like this?
What? Don't be silly. It'll wear off in a few hours, I think.
You think?
It didn't before. That other boy was like it for a week.
A week? I don't feel well.
Oh, stop fretting. We'll have you with Nurse Blaney in no time.
I've just realised.
What? What is it?
I have an essay I need to finish for bins. 2 inches.
Merlins, I haven't done mine either.
What? Don't leave me here!
Did you memorise the dates of magical discoveries and goblin rebellions?
Not yet, no.
Where are you going? You can't leave me here!
You'll be fine. I'll check on you tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Billy Wigsting, you'll be a week like that.
I never have. Right from when I was a child. I couldn't even stand on the landing without feeling dizzy.
But I don't understand. How could you ever think you'd do well on a broom if you're afraid of heights?
I didn't. But what choice did I have? I was too afraid to tell my father. He was a star seeker in his day.
I'm sure your father would have understood. Fear of heights isn't entirely uncommon.
It is in my family. You won't tell anyone, will you?
No, of course not.
I will.
What? Why would you do that?
In the event that Quidditch is one day restored to the premises of this school, your teammates deserve to know.
But why? As long as I fly and do my part, why should they care?
Yes, he told us this in confidence. That's rotten of you to threaten to tell.
All I know is, if I was flying about in a match, the last thing I'd want was someone fainting and dropping on me.
I suppose that is a point.
Yes, I hadn't really thought about it that way.
But you can't tell on me. Kagawa might stop me from playing, and then my father would find out.
I think you should tell your father. Stand up for yourself. You might be surprised anyway. Perhaps he'll be fine.
Yes, I once told my mother that I didn't actually enjoy her cabbage omelettes.
Oh, and how did that go?
Awful. She made me scrub down every ornament in the garden. Happened on one that was a real gnome. Terrible.
Why did you even tell me this? This doesn't support the suggestion at all that I tell my father.
Suppose not.
Wish I'd never said anything now.
You'll know better next time.
Your broom looks like it's done the rounds of every chimney in Hogsmeade.
And some. My sister was going to buy me a new one, but then she took up a new hobby, and that was that.
Oh, what sort of hobby?
Writing essays on Patronuses.
How do Patronus essays interfere with buying you a broom?
She was enchanting quills to write the essays, going through ink like a crop at a water bowl. When I reminded her about the new broom, she simply said she'd run out of money from buying all the ink.
What an abysmal sister.
She's not an abysmal sister at all. She's entitled to follow her own passions and not be beholden to others.
But she'd already told him she'd buy him a new broom. That's an agreement. You can't go back on it for a whim.
What's to say broom flying isn't a whim? What's her Patronus anyway?
Perhaps abysmal people don't have them.
Oh, stop it. Well, I bet it's a big fierce bear.
Why would his sister's Patronus be a big fierce bear? You've never even met her. Why would you possibly think that?
No, she's right.
What?
It's literally that. A big fierce bear.
I knew it.
Well, if she can muster the power to conjure a Patronus, I reckon the least she can do is repair your broom.
I've sent her an owl with a drawing of your decrepit thing. I reckon that'll give her the hint.
Scoundrel! My broom's in perfectly good shape.
If the shape you're after's a chimney...
I went to the lake once. Wanted to have a sing-song just by myself.
Such heroics on the field run in my family. I have a distant ancestor in a book, The Noble Sport of Warlocks.
That's remarkable. Our neighbour once got a mention in the Daily Prophet. For a tea that was good for boils.
Oh, very nice.
Sport of warlocks. The sport of warlocks should be exercising the mind, not showing off.
Or both. I used to enjoy a good romp around the field before Black cancelled everything. Grand fun, Quidditch.
Yeah.
But then, I'd be just as enthralled to be in the library, especially if Scribbler's in a good mood.
Oh, our neighbour once got a mention in a book that's in the library. One about healing potions.
Oh, did she come up with a good healing potion then?
No, she fell over and got ever such a scrape. So they tested one out on her. A healing potion.
Oh, work, did it?
No, very septic it went. She had to go to St. Mungo's, but she was so pleased to get a mention in that book.
Oh, very nice.
I wish I received letters from her more often. I like knowing what my sisters are up to. The youngest is learning to denome the garden.
Yes, well, I'm sure riding a horse would be just as good as riding a broom.
Yes, well, it likely would be. Unless you were an impatient sort, I suppose.
It's a relief to finally have an answer as to why that portrait was
Don't be
empty.
absurd. Of course it can't.
Oh, I don't know. Horses can go quite fast, I've heard. They race them in some parts.
Oh yes, I've heard that too. Apparently it started in the 1600s.
A broom's better though, isn't it? Obviously a broom is better, because you can fly on it. I don't recall ever seeing a person flying on a horse.
Oh, that'd be fun.
What?
What'd be fun?
Not again.
If we could enchant a horse, so we could fly on it. Oh, how fun.
I already asked Kagawa. She said no.
You asked Kagawa if we could enchant a horse.
I was only curious.
Oh, I can't believe she said no. I think my mother knows a friend of hers. I shan't let this drop.
Yes, especially if they're faster than brooms.
I literally wonder why I bother sometimes.
I'd still like to see it played with a Snidget, without a repelling charm.
Oh, that's cruel using a real bird.
Well, it could escape, I don't care. In fact, it would escape with no repelling spells to keep it to the confines of the arena.
Yes, you wouldn't see that today. What a barbaric lot we were. Glad we're a civilized society now.
You should be glad of Bowman Wright of Godric's Hollow. He's the man behind the golden snitch.
Metal charmer. My mother used to praise him to no end. Mimic the behavior of flight patterns he did.
Clever man, our Bowman Wright. Clever, clever man.
About the only thing interesting to ever come out of Godric's Hollow, I can tell you that much.
It was 1473. I don't think a Sunday passed that my father didn't remind me.
Mine too. Every single one of them broken in the First World Cup.
Hard to believe though, isn't it?
What? That we both have fathers obsessed with Quidditch fouls?
No, that there are 700 ways to foul.
I suppose so. What astounds me is that there was anyone left alive in that match.
In the First World Cup?
Yes. How could any team withstand 700 fouls when some of them are outright deadly?
You're right. Perhaps they cheated and used protection charms.
For goodness sake, don't let my father know. I'll be collecting cobwebs at the Ministry before he shuts up about it.
You're planning on working at the Ministry then?
Yes, Department of Magical Games and Sports. Feels a natural path for me.
Oh, very good. You'll remember us all then, will you?
What do you mean?
When we all get reported for breaking 699 Quidditch rules?
I promise I'll remember you. You remember that next time I ask for help in Transfiguration. I did nothing of the sort.
Why did I hear you asking about pearl dust the other day then?
And rose thorns.
That was for an assignment from Sharp.
Funny. I'm in your class, and I never received this assignment.
Oh, shut up. Sharp likely sees you can barely keep a cauldron upright.
I take offense to that.
Good.
So we're to believe that you used no sort of love potion during these exchanges?
Of course I didn't. I didn't need to. He was clearly taken by me.
Humility is such a virtue.
Oh, do shut up.
Then I don't understand. Why would you not wish to sit with him in the Great Hall when we have dinner?
Because he doesn't think the Chudley Cannons are a good team.
What?
But that's absurd.
They're one of the best teams out there.
Exactly.
They've won the League Cup. Goodness. Must be 20 times by now.
But it's always so noisy in the common room. And then I can't concentrate. So I end up just talking to everyone and nothing gets done. And then in the end, it didn't shrink.
What didn't shrink?
The purse. I thought it was moke skin. But I'd obviously been taken in by the vendor.
I'll say, that's not going to help you much around thieves, is it?
Yes, all right, clever clogs. I knew I shouldn't have told you.
Don't worry, I once bought a pair of sturdy trousers from Gladrags, made of leather, or so I thought. Ah, I said, these will be exceptional to protect my legs from all the bramble in the forest.
And? Were they not?
Turns out the trousers were mokeskin. Oh dearie me, I can tell you, nothing in those trousers was protected.
I don't feel so bad then. That does sound rather untoward.
But my father worked at the ministry, so obviously we're an important family.
My father once nearly died in the fire of a streeler, so I'd say that beats working at the ministry any day.
What's to say one thing is more important than another? I mean, surely it's who has the most money.
What? That's absurd.
That would be ridiculous.
I suppose you're right. Except...
Except what? You've not got another one of your notions about some heroic muggle, have you?
Well, some of them do amass quite a bit of wealth on their own, you know.
So do Nifflers. Doesn't mean we should round them up and give them a vaulted Gringotts. My father once nearly died of a Niffler scratch. Went very septic, it did.
Is there anything your father didn't nearly die of?
Perhaps he's an animagus, and he's got...
9 lives.
Anyone got any chocolate frogs? I could just fancy one.
I thought your mother was nice.
She is, but it's my baby sister. Caused all this fuss. I hate sisters. Sorry.
Apology accepted. But why would your mother send you a howler? Seems rather extreme.
Exactly. It's my little sister. She likes to play with earthworms. So last time I was home, I found some for her.
Your sister sounds charming.
She's the worst sister ever. I get her the earthworms, and next thing you know, we've got hawk lumps. My mum's livid.
Oh, hawk clumps can be quite nasty. They spread quickly too. Can ruin a garden almost overnight.
Yes, all right, Professor. That's exactly what happened. They ruined the garden almost overnight.
You can call me Professor.
Very funny. You don't know how embarrassing it was to have a howler show up in front of everyone.
People were talking about it in the girls' lavatory, so it must have been memorable.
Oh, that's very helpful to know. Thank you for that.
I'm sure Garlic would have a suggestion for you. At least it's just hawk clumps.
Just hawk lumps?
Well, I'm just saying. My auntie once had an infestation of bundymuns in her floorboards. Oh, now that's a stench. Rotten to have hawk clumps, I'm sure. But you'd be getting more than a howler if it was, say, a venomous tentacular. 50 poachers defeated.
Would you tell me I'm
Incredible.
lucky to still have my head? Just curious. Remind me never to bring up my problems when I'm talking to you.
Quite a logical outcome, really. Excess of earthworms. Completely plausible to attract hawk.
Yes, all right. We know some of us like herbology.
I almost had a treasure once. From my grandmother.
Oh, what was it?
An enchanted hourglass. It would flow quicker if you were in a boring class, so the teacher would think it was later. You could be done a class in half the time. Would have been brilliant for potions.
And what happened with the hourglass? Why wasn't it yours in the end?
Ugh, my grandmother changed her mind. I probably shouldn't have mentioned about using it in potions.
Well, even if you had it, half the school would have been after it. You'd have had to have a griffin to guard it.
Oh, I thought about it. I looked into us getting
Where
one,
did you
but
and Poppy run
apparently
off
can eat
to?
your leg off, so it wasn't ideal.
No, I suppose not. Although, if we're talking about Sharp's class...
Aimed right at my nose, he did. Everyone saw it.
Lucky he didn't hit you.
Ah, well, he wouldn't, would he? He did it deliberately. Struck at my face, but managed to avoid hitting me.
Ah, the Transylvanian tackle. Don't see that much.
I should think not. Rotten thing to do. I thought I was about to lose my head.
Yes, it's a cunning little move. The first time someone used it was at the World Cup of 1473.
Well, I should imagine it caused quite a stir. And I thought the Parkins pincer was bad.
I wonder if they do it a lot in Transylvania. The Transylvanian tackle.
Well, I should think so, given that it's named after them.
Yes. Yes.
I tell you, if someone tries to pretend to hit me in the face again, I shall not pretend to hit them back.
Huh. What would that move be called?
I should imagine the Hogwarts reverse Transylvanian tackle.
Oh, well that's easiest enough.
I saw a first year with one the other day.
Tell on them, did you?
No, of course not. They'll have scales on them if Black finds out.
Perhaps they were trying to impress someone.
With a broomstick. Besides, first years are strictly forbidden from even having their own brooms in school.
People do surprising things when they're seeking the attention of others.
Yes, Mrs. Clopton.
Stop it. Don't be so silly.
What kind was it anyway?
What kind of what?
Broom. You need a remembrall, you do.
Oh, of course. It was a wind wisp. New by the looks of it. I saw them at Spintwitch's last time I was there.
Well, they won't be having that for long. Kagawa can spot an unauthorized broom a mile away.
Must be nice to have a wind wisp. Mind you, the yew weaver's hard to beat. Like a whippet, that one.
Well, perhaps you should tell on them. And then it'll get confiscated, and you can go and steal it from Black's cupboard.
You're both completely devious. For all you know, they were simply carrying it for someone else.
Clopton will be lucky to have you as a wife. He can pinch all the knickknacks he wants, and you'll think he's innocent.
Oh, stop it. You're deluded moon minds, the both of you. Besides, the wind wisp will beat a yew weaver any day.
It's a wonder you didn't collide with the ground.
I'd say the bludgers were practically avoiding you for fear of embarrassment.
I could hardly watch.
May I say that I feel you're being a tad harsh?
We're doing it for your own good.
Yes, we don't mean to offend you in any way.
No. Ugh.
If I can just stop banishing monsters when practicing Evanesco, I think I could get an O on my Transfiguration OWL this year.
When my mother was here, it was a different professor. Apparently nowhere near as nice as Weasley.
I don't care if Weasley is nice. I find everything about Transfiguration utterly unnerving.
I don't know why you'd be scared. It's not as if anything can happen while the teacher's around.
I suppose so.
Although, there was that one time that Hilda turned Astoria Cricket into a worm.
What?
Oh, it wasn't serious.
Wasn't serious? Dear, I'm never going back to that class.
I don't know why you're so worried. Just don't sit next to Hilda. Simple as that. Oh, wait. Or Grace.
What?
Never mind.
It's all she talks about, though.
It's enough to send you to the infirmary just listening to her.
I would have been in the Wigtown Wanderers. Would have suited me perfectly.
It's a shame she doesn't Wigtown wander off.
Wasn't that the club started by a butcher? Used to stand at the sides with his butcher's knife, didn't he?
Yes. And I only know this because she will not shut up about them. I simply can't stand it.
She'll send me to an early grave. They'll have to write on my tombstone. Heard too much about the Wigtown Wanderers.
He had 7 children, didn't he, the founder? 4
I
boys
suppose
and
it's
3
nice
girls.
that Poppy is befriending
Yes.
humans for a
Walter
change.
Parkin,
His name was, the father.
I swear I never want to hear another word about them as long as I live. And what about the uniforms?
That's right, blood-red robes they wear, to honour that he was a butcher.
And an emblem of a silver butcher's knife on the chest. What a morbid spirit to bring to the field. She'll be at it tomorrow, no doubt. Right after potions she starts up.
Why couldn't I have been born in their time and played alongside those sisters?
Still, I suppose it is a bit interesting.
Fascinating. Truly fascinating.
It really is most intriguing.
I did see you through the window. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
I'd be embarrassed if it were me.
I was merely trying out one of Albie's new brooms. Evidently, I was a little overly zealous.
Lacking good sense, more like it.
There's no need for that sort of talk. I'd seen a young girl on one, and it looked to be a sturdy broom.
There you are. He was merely looking for a sturdy broom. Nothing to be ashamed of there.
He fell into the window display. Nearly went clean through the glass.
And I might add, at the speed he was going, he would have shot clean into Ollivanders. Lucky Albie grabbed him.
Yes, I did notice there was a little rearrangement in the window during the incident.
Might I point out that not one of you have asked about my well-being during this entire conversation?
Likely because you clearly went unscathed amidst this obvious lapse in judgment.
As a matter of fact, I sustained a nasty bump on the head, struck very harshly by two U-weavers.
At least the U-weavers had some sense.
Very funny.
Now, it's not nice to make fun of those less fortunate.
I'm not less fortunate. I simply tried out a broom that was clearly too fierce for my constitution.
Oh, well, if you're going to be like that, and Rumpet could handle a broom better than you.
I should imagine she'd always have room for an extra cauldron.
Yes, I thought it was a good idea myself.
Very good idea. I should be happy if my husband bought me a spare cauldron.
Oh, really? May I ask why? I'd like to understand the notion of it before I buy one, you understand?
Oh, of course. I'd be happy to share my own personal feelings on the matter.
Wonderful. Much appreciated, I'm sure. Very well. Please, enlighten me.
Well, I like to brew my antidotes on a Monday, my awakening potions on a Tuesday.
Yes?
And my cure for boils on a Saturday. Or on a Wednesday, should the need arise.
Oh, I see.
Your wife likely wouldn't need to brew all of those. Although definitely the cure for boils.
I see.
Now, of course, my cauldron is made of brass. Your wife might prefer a copper one, perhaps.
Forgive me, but did you allude to my wife having a need for a cure for boils?
I did, yes. Nothing to be ashamed of, boils. Can be hard to get snake fangs sometimes, but you only need 6. Oh, likely you'll want to get some horn slugs, and I like to keep a few shrake spines on hand for other brews.
This has been extraordinarily helpful. I can't thank you enough, truly.
Shall you be getting her the spare cauldron, then?
No, most certainly not.
You wouldn't catch me keeping one.
Why not? I think it's nice to be able to look back on old diaries and see what you were doing in the past.
I keep a diary.
There, see? I'm not the only one.
I'm sure lots of people are happy to write their every thought down on paper and have someone find it.
Oh, well, of course you keep it in a safe place. Somewhere secret where no one would look. And you don't tell anyone.
Where do you keep yours?
In my trunk.
Oh, me too.
I'm not sure I care what I did in the past. Shouldn't I perhaps be writing down what I hope to do in the future?
Huh. What an interesting idea.
Yes, that is rather intriguing. We would write what we aspire to do.
Instead of what we have or haven't already achieved.
I think it's a fine idea. In fact, tonight I shall make a list in my diary of things I hope to achieve in the future. My personal and private ambitions.
I might even do that too. Yes, I think I shall. And I believe there would be more power in not telling anyone.
Not telling people what you're writing down. what your ambitions actually are?
I believe there's a power in secrecy. It's its own form of magic.
It shall be done tonight. The ink will be dry before my head touches the pillow, and I shan't tell a soul.
Oh, you'll still tell me, won't you?
Oh, yes, of course.
I fell asleep in Transfiguration once. Professor Weasley woke me up and I had drool all over my wand. Couldn't transfigure my way out of that.
When someone says something nice to you, it's only because they want something.
I was a late bloomer. My parents thought I was going to be a squib. Family still tease me about it.
Why would anyone bother sending secret love letters? If you want to win me over, just treat me to a butterbeer at the Three Broomsticks.
I almost bought an owl in Diagon Alley. Went with a cat instead. Odd-coloured eye, and it quite appealed to me.
Owls must be incredibly intelligent to deliver all those letters. I still get lost looking for our common room.
Professor Howin was carrying some pearl dust the other day. Obviously, I asked her if it was for a love potion. Her face just contorted. You'd think I'd just beat her at gobstones. I'd rather Howin be teaching potions and sharp. I don't like how often he mentions common poisons. It's like he's planning something. What? It's not implausible. My sister will be home for the holidays this year. Hope she's bought me a new beater's bat. We're bound to have Quidditch next year. My family loves going to the Quidditch World Cup. Father was on the Barnton amateur team for a bit. Been obsessed with the sport ever since. There's not 1 week gone by I haven't had a howler from my mother. She's doing it deliberately. It's because I left my room in a mess. I can't help it if I was having a nightmare. Serves them right for talking about Lethervold right before bed.
The other girls and I were up all night reading letters from my secret admirer. They're very jealous of me, I'm sure.
I tried doing homework in the dormitory last night, but ended up falling asleep. Those beds are simply too comfortable.
I think rules against beasts in the dormitories should be enforced, just because it was a puff scheme.
I haven't slept well for ages. I miss my pillow from home. What? Nothing wrong with that.
I thought it would be hard adjusting to sharing a room, but I rather enjoy the company.
Not the best idea to start a study group with the boys from my dormitory. Now, we never get a break from each other.
I've seen the boys looking very sheepish lately. At least you didn't do what that first year did. Spent hours collecting Dittany only to find it was old weeds.
Foolish child.
Although I can't
Do
see
you have any
anyone
idea how many smuggles the Ministry had to obliviate to cover up your actions? You could have been killed. You could have exposed us all. If I lose my job, it will be you to blame.
Arresto momentum. Accio.
I didn't do anything, madam.
Nobody is getting punished. Bar perhaps a little cleanup of the ground. But if this happens again, it'll be a most gruesome detention.
Yes, Madam Kagawa.
Marvelous dedication to the sport.
I told you she was good, didn't I? You should see her with a cookpot.